how much disco are you nowadays? Are you still going out?
I don't go to clubs. No, I really don't go to clubs anymore. But I can dance in my own environment, and I'm always dancing in my head, so I don't think that's going to stop.
What kind of club have you been when you, back in the years, went out to a club? Standing in the corner, just watching people, or dancing on the dance floor all the time, drinking?
I would go on the dance floor all the time, so I would go anywhere, really. I would go anywhere. I even came, I can't think, it was in Hamburg. I went to a club in Hamburg once, and I was on my own, and it was a heavy metal headbanger club, and I was the only person on the dance floor dancing like I would be dancing to disco, but to heavy metal.
And did you miss your hair for the headbanging stuff?
No, there was so many other people with hair, so it was okay.
Back to the album, the title itself. Do you see what is Homage for you, or what do you implement within the title?
I think once we realised how the album was sounding and the songs and how it was, we realised it wasn't a pastiche. It was actually a true homage. It was a real, absolute, respect to the genre, and it was giving it the respect that it deserves, and that's why it's called Homage, because it's not a pastiche. It's not just elements of, and we try to understand how it would have felt back in the day to record such an album,
What makes Back to Me the first single? Why did you pick Back to Me?
For the first single, it's a soft introduction, and I think it was nice to just have a slow introduction to what I'm doing now. I think if it was Travesty, that would have been a bit overwhelming.
But I mean, Travesty is working quite well with this remix by this guy. I forgot his name, but what was his name? The 11 minute remix version.
Do you remember his name?
Robbie Leslie.
That's it. Yes. Yeah, that's a cool remix.
And it's funny because nowadays remixes are, in my opinion, quite rare. I remember back in the 80s when I was DJing, I mean, there were only remixes all the time, and bootlegs, especially bootlegs. And it has changed so much. Some Wonder, the new video just came out. What's the story behind the song?
It's really, for me, personally, Some Wonder is about this idea that, time affects us in so many different ways. And for me, where I'm at in my own life personally now, I have a lot of freedom from a lot of troubles from the past. So I now have time to basically appreciate, as it says, time is fast running away. So I'm in a place in my head where I appreciate time and I want to make the most of it. And like the lyric says, time, it gives me this life, gives me this love, but time can easily take that away. And that reference is about how, for me, that time can easily take that away if I'm using my time in a very destructive way. So it's really about time, and it's about life, and that theme has kind of ran through a lot of my songs. Actually, one song that I wrote a long time ago when one of my friends had died from AIDS, and the song is like, if life is all we are, it's like, and time, and again it talks about time. It's like, and just how that time for me is that took me to a very dark place. And so that time for me and how I was spending my time was very dark. So it's got that element, but it's also got a positivity as well, because there is, there's a poem by W.H. Auden, and the poem just says, "Time will say nothing but I told you so," and as human beings, as creatures, we think we can control time, and it's like, and we try to manipulate it, so it's a kind of, I'm trying to sum this up because this is a personal kind of thing for me. So that's my personal element. But then when I write songs, I try to maybe just add little parts which are not about me that someone else can think, oh yeah, I get that, It's like.
But this drinking problem you had.
I had a life problem.
That was a life problem?
Fuck the drinking, it was a life problem.
But I mean, you stopped it and you're feeling much better now, and this has also got to do with learning time by time, step by step, and everything. What is it for you? Like, how old are you now? For 53? Yeah. Do you like that age, or because I used to say I'm still 23? You know.
Do I like this age? Well, I have no choice in the matter. You know, I really have no choice. So I have to embrace it, and I have to actually understand that. Once again, you know, it's like time is all I am. I am nothing but time. So I have to either go with it, and I can't hold it back, and I can't race into the future. So it's about where I am now, and that's really what it's about.
Right now at YAGALOO, and I'm so confused and oh hell! But a good time was probably you on stage here at the Brandenburg Gate for New Year's Eve last year. I don't know how many people were there in front of the stage, like a million.
That was bizarre. That was really, really bizarre. But that was fun. That was really fun. It was just a sea of people, really a sea of people. That was fun.
So, but on the other hand, I saw some interview today when you were saying that it's a problem nowadays for you to go on tour because of you have to pay the musicians, you have to pay hotel room and transportation, blah blah blah. Isn't it? It's strange that you get invited to this like huge events for a million people and also the television audience, and then for you as a musician, it's hard and it's a kind of struggle, isn't it? Somehow.
But the doing the New Year's Eve thing, you know, I'm also kind of like, you know, I know why that was important for me, because I'm bringing out a new album, and that's a perfect way for me to basically go into the homes of Germans and sort of go, remember me? Hello, do you remember me? And the great thing is, it's like, you know, I sang live and people were like, oh, his voice is still okay. He's kind of okay. It's really funny because sometimes, you know, people, when they see you, they think you will change. And I done a show once in Ireland, and 2 women came to the show. And the only reason they came to the show was they looked at each other, and one woman said to the other, I thought he would be fatter now. So they really just came to see if I was going to be fat.
Why is that?
For years and years. So it's that idea that by doing this, by doing the TV, it was me showing to people, here I am, and, you know, remember me, and this is now where I'm at. This is new. So almost to say, like, you know, have a listen, give it a go.
And the good thing was also last year, or was it the year before, when you walked to the street musician with your dog Otto? Was it your dog, or was it just
my dog, it was someone else's dog.
the dog was just placed there? But it was a funny story.
It was sweet, and it was a feel good moment, and you know, and it got people watching it on YouTube and talking, and it was nice for people just like this. It was a bit of escapism. You know, this is what this album is, a bit of escapism with some political message in there, but not in your face. It's just like, yeah, okay, read the lyrics and see what you get from them, but at the same time, just have some, you know, have some light relief.
Can you give me an example of the political statements you're doing on this album?
Well, I think in Travesty, it's like, you know, the one line is like, you know, it's time to wake up, this is a welfare war. Because I come from, and you live in, 2 of the richest nations on the planet, and yet we still allow people to go hungry, we still allow people to live on the streets, you know, to coming here, people sitting on the streets begging, people sleeping on the streets. And for me, that's becoming worse. That's getting worse, especially in my country, because the government is taking away the benefits that help to support those who are vulnerable. And to me, you don't need to go into any big, deep discussion. If you're wealthy, a wealthy country, you should be looking after the vulnerable. It's simple. And that's changing. And so the vulnerable are going to become even more vulnerable. And it's like, who's going to protect them? So this is what, you know, Travesty is about, you know. And then the very last verse is about, because I'm a very optimistic person, you know, and the last verse says, you know, but the world keeps turning and a baby's born. So hopefully this baby will grow to maybe be a voice amongst so many that can maybe change the situation. That's my optimism. Some people think that I live in a la-la land, but that's okay, because I have to be optimistic. I think we all do, you know.
Especially as the gap is getting bigger between the poor, but the poor and the rich.
Have and those that haven't, you know, and there is so much to go around that those that have can really easily give so much to those that haven't, and that's what life should be about, you know. And it shouldn't be. That's really what life should be about.
But I think your optimism is, I don't know, maybe a kind of headline of your career, because I mean you started with Small Town Boy, which was my coming out hymn, totally, and you're still doing political stuff in your songs, so that's a good bracket, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because I think, I mean, even though I had my own personal struggles and my own problems, I've always, from a very young age, I understood we. You know, I always have tried to think about we, and I see that as and how I deal with life, and what kind of a person I am, and what good things I can do, and how I can behave to people, and how I can be respectful, because I think it's about we. And that's what life should be about. It should be about we, not me, and, you know, not closing off. It should be about everyone.